Okay. Guys, I'm Dr. Brett Brimhall. I apologize you can't see my smiley face. I am smiling, I promise. I'm a chiropractor in the Phoenix area, and you've been invited here by somebody that cares about you. We have these Wellness Wednesdays topics because what we've realized is there's a lot of people that are looking for ways to get better, looking for good resources. And we all found each other through a company called Life Vantage. We work together to spread the message of how your body heals and repairs. And through that process, we've been lucky enough to meet individuals like we have on the call tonight, Suzanne Barker, who is a nutritionist and just a wealth of knowledge when it comes to understanding the body and truly how in which food and lifestyle affects you. And she not only knows it, she lives it. And so I'm just thrilled that she said yes to sharing with you and also in doing this business with me and us. And because we can all grow so much together. And she gets to talk about a topic that I think is one of the funnest topics in the world, which is GI health and poop. It's actually really kind of fun. And I get to say that. How about that? It's even recorded. So if you're watching this recording, just get back to the person that invited you at the end and let them know if you have any questions or things like that. So Suzanne, thank you for taking the time. I love your knowledge and experience and really your personal touch with people. I know that's what you do all day long is to talk with physicians like me to help educate us, but also real people, people that struggle every single day with their health and make it simple enough where they can learn to use it. So thank you for saying yes and for sharing with us, and I'll let you take it away.
Okay. Eileen, can I share my screen?
Yep.
Okay. Okay. Once again, I'm going to start with this picture of the digestive tract because that's kind of what we've been talking about. And okay, hold on 1 second. All right. Okay. So like we talked about a couple of weeks ago, we talked about digestion and how it works. And what I'm going to talk about with you tonight is something called SIBO, which means small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. Now, this is actually a pretty complicated topic, but I'm going to try to kind of just give you an overview and keep it simple, which is always a challenge for me, not to get too much into the weeds. So as we know, like digestion, remember, starts in the mouth. Chew your food. The food comes through the esophagus, stomach, where the gastric acid and things are added, digestive enzymes, some of them, and then into the small intestine. So you can see the small intestine. I got this picture because it shows the small intestine better than my last picture, but it is the longest part of your digestive tract. Okay, so it's also the place where nutrients are absorbed, or a lot of the nutrients are absorbed. And you can see here in the colon is where most of the bacteria should be housed. And so this is where we want the bulk and the majority of the bacteria to be, not here in the small intestine. So what happens in small intestinal bacterial overgrowth is you get too much bacteria here in the small intestine. And why is that bad? Why is that a problem? Well, because what happens is this bacteria, it starts breaking down the food, breaking down the enzymes, things like that, and it causes malabsorption of nutrients, especially your fat-soluble vitamins and iron. So this can lead to anemia, it can lead to malnutrition, B12 deficiency, all of these kinds of issues. So what are some of the symptoms of SIBO? Well, it's quite a large number of symptoms: nausea, bloating, gas, vomiting, diarrhea, or constipation. We already said malnutrition, joint pain, fatigue, eczema, rashes, depression. All of these things can be caused by this overgrowth of bacteria that's in the wrong place in your digestive tract. So some of the causes of this dynamic would be, well, unfortunately to say, like aging could be, and not just because of aging, but because of, change in diet, Also, more things, the longer you live, more things that could have happened to you, like gut injury, abdominal surgery, dysmotility, diabetes, all different medications, especially proton pump inhibitors. Because if you remember on our last meeting that I talked about the pH here, the acid level in the stomach should be, the pH should be low. It should be high acid, because that's starting to break down the food. If you are constantly lowering this acidic level, then what happens is the bacteria here that should be in the colon, they start to migrate upward into the small bowel, and that's what we don't want. So a lot of times people are using these proton pump inhibitors, antacids, and things like that because they're uncomfortable. And so what we do, because we're kind of this instant gratification kind of culture, and we want to fix it right this minute, but the best way to fix it is to eat different food. If you eat something and you get gas and bloating and heartburn and things like that, you're eating the wrong food. It's not a lack of medication that you have is the problem. It's eating the wrong foods. So we really, really want to, I don't want you to miss that point, that so much of this can be healed and helped by eating the right foods. And we'll talk about that just a little bit. So how is this SIBO diagnosed? Well, sometimes if you go, and most of the time, if you're going to deal with SIBO, if you're going to deal with it, a lot of people will go to a functional doctor, like someone like Dr. Brimhall, but they may go also to a GI doctor. And a lot of times this is diagnosed with a breath test. So there's two types of SIBO. One is hydrogen dominant, which would be something causing more like diarrhea symptoms, or methane dominant, which would be result in constipation issues. So you can have both going on, either or, not both at the same time. But so one of the reasons why the methane dominant causes constipation is because the methane gas slows motility. So when you slow motility, this, no one wants to have a diarrhea issue, but when you slow motility, you even get other issues because you're holding those toxins in the body, which you really need to eliminate. So not just two, but the two main ways that this is treated, one is antibiotics. So a lot of people take antibiotics to try to kill the bacteria. The thing about that is usually people do get instant relief, but it usually comes back. Like, it's a very high incidence of recurrence. So that's not really, doesn't seem the best way to treat it. It's also treated with herbals like oil of oregano, berberine, wormwood oil, and things like that. Some of the other treatments or steps to take if you are trying to heal from SIBO would be eat very small meals. Chew your food. Remember, digestion starts in the mouth. Chew your food really, really well, and eat small meals, because if you eat large meals, then that's going to keep your small intestine full, and it's going to give these bad bacteria more of an opportunity to be using up your nutrients instead of your body absorbing those nutrients. So we want to eat the small meals, and probiotics are in the new research. They used to say probiotics made it worse because you're adding bacteria. However, they've done some trials in new research with the specific strains of Lactobacillus casei, Lactobacillus plantarum, Bifidobacterium brevis, and Streptococcus faecalis. And what they did a trial. They gave one group those strains of probiotics, and they gave another group antibiotics. And the group with the probiotics had an 82% improvement, and the group with the antibiotics had a 52% improvement. So we are seeing that probiotics, are really, really helpful in this area, the right probiotics. Now, it can't be probiotics alone. That's not going to fix this. So one of the main ways is through a diet that's called low FODMAPs. You may be familiar with that. You may not be familiar with that. Basically stands for, I can't even think of it. Fructose, wait, let me see, oligosaccharide, disaccharide, monosaccharide, and polyols. Anyway, these foods are like fructose, lactose, wheat, garlic, a lot of simple carbohydrates. The polyols would be like sorbitol, xylitol. Anyway, you can Google a low FODMAP diet. So that's going to be one of the things that's going to be kind of a first step in treating this with the right probiotic, with some herbals, and with the right diet. So you're going to eliminate these FODMAP foods for about 2 weeks, and then you transition to something called GAPS diet. GAPS diet is gut and psychology syndrome diet, and so it's eliminating again. You're going to continue to eliminate the refined carbohydrates, and you're going to have nutrient dense foods like really like wild fish, like grass-fed beef, there's a list of vegetables that are, beets, carrots, cabbage, greens, avocado, and then no sugars except raw honey and some dates, and then really healthy fats, so olive oil, avocado oil, even coconut oil. So you want to do this long enough to allow the gut to heal, because your goal is to decrease inflammation, improve digestion, and decrease that bacterial population in the small intestine. So this is, it takes a minute to treat this. It's not going to be like, I'm going to do this for a week and it's going to fix it. This is, it will take probably maybe 2 to 3 months to heal this. But however, it's really important to heal it, because if not, it can lead to a lot of nutrient deficiencies and a lot of other complications as a result of those nutrient deficiencies. So that's kind of gives you an overview of small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. We want to have that bacteria mostly in the colon and not in the small intestine. And so for the reasons that we talked about. So just in summary, eat the small meals, chew them well, and also drink, they recommend drinking spring water and stay well hydrated. Also decrease stress. You want to keep your stress down and move. So something like walking, pedaling a bike, not 100 miles, but maybe just, easy pedaling, stretching, things like that. And then really good supplements like B12, vitamin D, vitamin K, digestive enzymes, zinc, and then if need be, iron. But I would check that. I would check your iron levels before I added an iron source. And then I would use a natural one like Floridix or Floravite, which is kind of like a liquid spinach. It's easily absorbed and it's not hard on the gut. So, okay, that is that's about it for small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. And does anyone have questions?
Well, what I love about what you've done, Suzanne, is to make a complex topic. A lot of people just, just the symptoms like, well, why am I gassy, or why am I constipated, or why do I have, diarrhea, and say, hey, some of it's linked directly to what I love you said. Pay attention to your foods. Because at the end of the day, we're trying to help empower people. So I love that you said that. So great overview, because I've had people explain that to me in a lot more complex terms, and the way you made it super simple is awesome. All right, guys, so here's your opportunity where you get somebody that would normally get paid big money to talk to people. You get to ask her questions.